Hi, welcome to the Online Jewelry Academy. I'm Professor John Ahr and I'm your instructor. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make this. It's an oxidation inhibitor. Now, in many of the videos, you've seen me solder or work with copper. And copper is a great material to practice with. Now, some of the videos I have soldered with silver, and we have not discussed the issue of Firescale. When you begin to work with sterling silver, you probably will at some point notice areas on your project that just seem gray and dingy, and you're like, what happened? Well, you developed Firescale. Firescale is a form of oxidation called cupric oxide, and what it is, it's when copper that's part of the structure of sterling silver, where silver and copper are alloyed together, the copper just below the surface picks up an atom of oxygen and combines with it to create the Firescale. Now, there are ways to get rid of it or ameliorate it. You could sand and polish it to abrade and get rid of it, but then maybe your piece might start to get too thin, or your piece is already too thin to do that. So you could frost it, which is repeated heating with a torch, and pickling and brass brushing to raise a fine silver layer. Or you could plate the piece with silver to hide it. Or you could work with a different material. You could work with argentium silver, which is silver that's alloyed with argentum in order to make a new type of sterling silver that won't develop the Firescale. Or you could work in gold. But if you're working with sterling silver and you want to avoid the Firescale, this is going to help you. What it is it's a combination of boric acid and denatured alcohol. Now, the boric acid is sold as a powder, and you can get it at the pharmacy in the eye care aisle. And if you can't find it, or if your pharmacy doesn't carry it, you might be able to also look in the pest control aisle at the hardware store and find boric acid for roach control. Now, the boric acid needs to be placed into a waterproof container. I'm using glass, it could be plastic. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to combine it with a little bit of the denatured alcohol. Now, when you do this, you just want to add enough denatured alcohol so that you create a slurry. It should be like a really loose mud, or the consistency of a really melted milkshake. So I'm just going to stir this up, and I want to get all the dry stuff that's hiding in the corner to get wet with the denatured alcohol. Now, the denatured alcohol is fairly pure, so you don't need to worry too much about working with it open like this right now, but you do want to keep this closed when you're not working with it so that the alcohol doesn't evaporate and so that you don't feel a little bit woozy from the fumes at your bench. The other thing, it will help to prevent a fire if you keep it closed as well. Now, when you actually work with it at the bench, of course you're going to be working with ventilation, so it won't be a problem. Okay, so I've got my denatured alcohol and boric acid a little bit loose in there. It could be a little bit tighter. If you put too much alcohol in, you can either let it evaporate out a little bit or just add more boric acid. Then what you do when you work with it is you're going to take your piece and you're going to just submerge it into the slurry and bring it out and place it wherever you're going to be soldering. Then what you do is simply take a match. Let me close this first. Just take a match and light the alcohol. Now, the alcohol will burn off, and it will leave a completely even coating of the boric acid over your entire piece. It's almost like flexing your entire piece. And this will help to prevent the Firescale. Now, be sure, if you are recycling a food container like I've done here, make sure you take away any labeling that would tell somebody that there's food in here. Make sure that's off the container and that you clearly label what's inside. Because otherwise you could have a of an accident or a problem in your home studio, and we don't want that to happen. We want you to continue to work safely. At this point, I'm ready to either fuse or continue soldering as I normally would. I hope this tip helps you to avoid fire scale in your silver work. Be sure to check out our other videos at www.onlinejewelryacademy.com, and don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Thanks for watching.